testosterone, we have a problem.
This is Outside the Manosphere, where two guys with zero credentials dive past the cliches of masculinity and try and become better friends by actually talking to each other. It's weirdly hard, but we're doing it anyway. Join us.
Welcome to Outside the Manosphere. My name is Carlos.
And I'm Skip.
How's it going, Skip?
It's going pretty darn well. How about you?
It's going well, too. This is our final episode of season 1 of Outside the Manosphere. We've been doing this for how long, man? Since like last May?
Geez. Yeah, it must be about May or April. It must be about May.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah.
What an accomplishment that we have achieved, the two of us. Patting ourselves on the back here.
Yeah. And we're going to take a week or two off after this.
I say at least one. Yeah, we'll figure it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Maybe we'll play an old episode. Maybe we'll release one of our favorite episodes or something again.
We'll release a greatest hits, maybe.
Yeah. And then we'll dive right into season 2, which is about red flags.
Red flags, the behaviors to avoid in the dudes.
And things that maybe we're confronting about ourselves and helping us on our journey to be better dudes.
Well, and that's the thing. We'll get into it, when we start the next season. But like, when I was looking over these red flags, I'm like, holy shit! Like, I have and do display a lot of these behaviors still. So, yeah, it was a little alarming for me. So I hope it's not going to be, ego shattering.
Maybe we need a good ego shattering.
Yeah, hey, maybe so. I guess we're going to find out soon enough. Well, what have you got for a news item this week? In our notes, you've redacted yours, so I have absolutely no idea what you're going to say.
So I redacted it because I was torn, because I know that you are good buddies with ChatGPT. And my news is somewhat related to that, or very related to that.
Is this a gotcha news item?
It's not a gotcha news item. It's something that I think is like genuinely really important, and it's been kind of playing out over a few weeks. And like, there's another story that's kind of in combination to it, but it's all sort of the same thing, which is this whole thing with the Pentagon. And I don't know if you've heard about this, and Anthropic, which is their AI bot, is Claude. And the Pentagon was like, we want to be able to use it however we want to use it. And Claude, or Anthropic, which has been founded, they basically left OpenAI because they were like, you guys aren't being ethical.
Mm-hmm.
They said, no, we're not going to do this because we don't want it to be used for war and autonomously targeting and killing civilians and spying on our citizens.
Spying is the big one. Yeah, that's the
spying
big one
on our citizens. Yeah, and things like that. And so the Trump administration, the Pete Hegseth and the Department of War have tried to classify them now as a supply chain risk, which means that they can't do business with any government things, and nobody that can do business with them can do business, which is like wildly illegal. And then OpenAI, after this, within hours, went, we'll do it. Yeah. We are happy to do it. And they said that they came up to a different deal, but everybody's kind of like it's all been fairly transparent that they very clearly didn't. And that Sam Altman, the lead of this, quite often lies to get whatever deal he can. And like the other people at Anthropic left specifically because he's unethical. And, all of this would be like, I don't know, it'd be one thing, except in addition to the spying on the citizenry, there's also the use of autonomous war machines and things like that. And it's kind of a, do you want Skynet? Because this is how you get Skynet situation. Right. And it's especially bad because in a related news item, and it's not just OpenAI, but across AI bots, they've done war games with them. And 95% of the time, they use nuclear weapons.
No shit.
So wow. Allowing AI to make these kinds of decisions literally makes it much more risky that there will be a nuclear war. because we're going to take those decisions out of people's hands. And OpenAI might be very happy to make a buck off of killing millions of people and potentially starting World War III. But I'm not. Um, so I just think it's something that if you're not aware of it, there's really good reporting out there for our listeners to go find out a little bit more about some of this craziness. But it's something that I think people should be aware of, because like the combination of the 95% of the time war games, they're using nuclear weapons, and the Pentagon and this company vociferously going after putting these into autonomous weaponry is a really, really bad thing. And so that's my newest item, and that's the negative bits that I'll have for the show. But I think it is something, like, I want to be positive, but we also need to be kind of aware of like shit coming down the pipe.
And that's the key. And just because there's a lot you said here, and I feel like your brief news item is gonna take up some time here, because I have stuff to say.
Yeah.
And so just to be clear, OpenAI is ChatGPT for everyone that's maybe missed that in the beginning. So ChatGPT is kind of the primary go-to now for the U.S. government. And what they've done with Anthropic is something that hasn't been done with, I think, an American company, as far as I understand. Like, they usually designate that with like what is it, Huawei in China. They won't allow that in. I don't even know that's in the US. You can't get a Huawei phone. So yeah, it's unprecedented what they've done. The other thing was, I guess what you were kind of presenting is a possibility, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't think it's necessarily the end all, and that's not necessarily what's going to happen. So I just want to also remain optimistic and positive, because yeah, it is 95%. According to what you're saying, I haven't seen any. I haven't looked into it, so it's not that I haven't seen anything. But I think those are potential things, and they're not good potential things, obviously. But I mean, we could maybe diminish it and call them bugs to work out, and maybe that's something that's gonna get ironed out. I don't know, but I will stay optimistic. The only thing that worries me, not the only thing, one of the major things that worries me is that this is an administration that is proven to be short-sighted. Mm-hmm. And they don't really plan ahead. And that's the concern that I have. Because whether we like it or not, AI is going into these weapons, whether it's going to be from China or Russia or Iran or France, whatever. People are going to start plugging them in. And that's going to happen. So Skynet, which you reference, is from Terminator 2, when the AI that's controlling all the weaponry in the world becomes self-aware in an attempt to self-preserve, it attacks Russia and the U.S., and it creates a nuclear war all over the world. That's coming. Well, I mean, whether or not these things are actually self-aware or not, who knows? But like, that's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen. Whether or not it's a negative thing is up in the air. The other thing, I guess, the nuance that I will say, and I'm not saying this is a positive thing, or I'm not justifying anything, is what Anthropic was pushing back on, as I recall, what I had read or listened to, was that they were unwilling to allow their software to be used to go through like millions and millions, billions of data points from information gathered from like street cameras or stuff that's swept up on the internet. So it's not exactly spying. Like there's like a loophole where they're not technically, they're legally spying on Americans, because this data is already out there. There just isn't millions of people to like sift through all the information. But using AI, they can do that in minutes. So it's like the ultimate 1984 police.
Exactly.
Big brother state, which is pretty darn negative. And that's what Anthropic was pushing against. And in my defense, Skip, I still use ChatGPT. I'm aware I'm conflicted by it all, but I have downloaded Gemini, which is pretty okay. It's not terrible. I haven't really explored it too much. And I've also downloaded Claude. And I imagine a lot of people did that the moment it became like an issue for the Trump administration. People downloaded it. Claude seems to be really, really useful for like organization. As far as like the artsy-fartsy stuff that I'm into with the AI, it's not as good.
No.
Or I haven't figured it out yet, but like it's not as good as Gemini and ChatGPT. So I am fishing for other options, but ChatGPT is something that I have used for the past couple of years.
I know.
And I'm upset about it. I'm upset about what's happening. But as I said before, I'm remaining optimistic. I'm hoping for an end to this fucking nightmare that we're living in November. I know you think that's naive, but I still hope that November will change some things.
I'm hoping that that's it. I just don't think that we should be complacent about that's going to happen. I think that's
I'm not. Yeah. Well, we're talking about it at the very least. So
and with Claude, Claude seems to be across the board with when I've been listening to tech stuff. It seems to be better at all the things other than like image generation and
Right.
stuff like that.
It's really good at practical stuff.
It's really good at the practical stuff. I think the worry is, and you're right, AI is going into all the weapons and stuff. The worry is that what should have happened in an ideal world, which is not the case, is when Claude said, we're not going to do this, this is unethical and dangerous, the other AI companies should have went, yeah, that's right. But instead they went, oh, we're next. And that's the worry. It's not that there's going to be AI use. AI isn't necessarily evil, but if your AI is fine with doing evil, it definitely will be, because it doesn't have empathy or consideration for the value of human lives or anything like that.
Well, I think the real problem is that there's this mad scramble, a technological scramble to get to the top of the AI pile, and nobody is willing to rein in the research. Everyone knows they should. But they know, okay, well, if the U.S. pulls back and they limit themselves with these guidelines, well, China and Russia are going to zoom ahead for sure.
Yeah.
And they have the exact same fear if they do the same thing that the U.S. is going to zoom, and we probably would. And you know what? Outwardly, we wouldn't, but everyone's going to be doing it behind the scenes. Doesn't matter what is in place. All the governments are doing it behind the scenes. So, and they all know that. So it's bleak, it's scary, but it could also be really, really positive. And
it could be.
I mean, this could also be the end to disease. It could be the end to a lot of things that are a blight on humanity.
I think you're absolutely right. We just need the right people to be in charge, and right now that's not where we're at. But hopefully we can get the right people in charge, and with all this amazing computing power, we can do something nice with it. So what's your news item since we've gone through my bleak and fraught vision of future dystopia?
Okay, so this isn't a news item. This is whatever. It's my time.
It's so whatever you want to bring in, man.
This is how I'm using it. So yesterday, or a couple of days ago, I had started, because I edit in two processes, right? I edit in one program, and then I migrate over to another, and I edit in another. So I listened to our last episode twice, and in detail, as I always do. And I wasn't really satisfied with my response to the 36 questions to fall in love. The last question was a problem that you have.
Yeah.
And we were both reaching for a problem, so I don't think it's actually a major issue that you were having, but it was a deep one. And it was, if you haven't listened to it, and we'll go back and listen to it, but it was in short, finding fulfillment in your day-to-day, and and that's it. And you were kind of comparing. I realized that was part of it. I feel like in the episode prior to that one, you were kind of comparing your day-to-day to my day-to-day, and with how fulfilling my job is, and how and before I wasn't with work, and this thing has brought in like an aspect of joy and fulfillment that I hadn't previously had. And that is kind of true, but I realized when I was listening to your answer and my response is that the difference between, I guess, our day-to-days is that what it seemed to me, and feel free to like push back on this, and this is absolutely not a criticism, but it seems to me that what you're looking for is fulfillment in a hobby. You're looking for a hobby or a job to bring you fulfillment. That's kind of the essence of what I understood. Maybe mistakenly, that my job has brought me fulfillment, because my job fulfills me definitely, but it hasn't brought me fulfillment. You know what I mean?
Right.
I realized what did bring me fulfillment was a whole list of shit that I was doing before that, a couple of years before that. And that was through meditation, and that was through, my little woo-woo stuff. And I realized what really, really brought me, and I can't prescribe this to you or to anyone, because you have to find it. You know what I mean? But really what it is for me, and I've said this before, was like a belief system. And I don't mean like in Jesus. Oh yes, I do mean like in Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or whatever you like, but something to like hold you up. You know what I mean? And bring you that sort of comfort that you don't have to be thinking about anymore. And like, that's what did it for me. And I don't think about this stuff every single day. It's not like, oh, thank goodness there's more to life than I can see. I don't think that way. But the fact that I've like sat in that chair, I'm no longer on my feet and weary. You know what I mean? Like I've got my mind on other things. And I think that sort of like rest that I found in a search for meaning allowed me to explore other things deeply and thoroughly, and it gave me purpose. That's what I wanted to finish my thought, that I really didn't feel satisfied with my response to your problem. And it's not so I'm not offering you a solution. I'm just I guess don't mistake my job for bringing me fulfillment, because it wasn't my job. You know what I mean? That brought me fulfillment. It's bringing an aspect of fulfillment for sure. But so is my like happy marriage, and so is my all the choices that I've made up until this moment have led me to like this outlook that I have. And at the source of all of that was a relief that I found in I don't know, that I'm not alone, that I'm connected to you, that I'm connected to everyone that I love, that I'm connected to everything. And that sort of connection has brought me great comfort. And with that comfort brought me satisfaction, fulfillment, and relief. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to say that's my news item.
All right. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think, there's different things that we're talking about, right? Like, and I want both of them. Like, I want something that I'm doing every day that feels purposeful and fulfilling in some way. I want a job that's like purposeful and feels meaningful. And also, like, I want to just feel fulfilled as well. And I'm working on, I feel like in my situation, I actually have an easier time feeling like my life is fulfilled because like I do love my wife and my kids and things like that. But then there's this element of just like, okay, well, that only takes so much time because they're all busy.
Right.
So I also want something, and it's something that, of course, I'm still also working on.
Yeah.
You know, it's not
everyone is, sure.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not just done with that, but I also do want, something to do with my time that feels fulfilling. So, but yeah, you're right. And maybe if I was more settled on, I don't know, some kind of personal fulfillment, maybe that would define a direction for me better, or design purpose for me, or something like that. But yeah, it's a good note, and I will continue to think about that for a while. And I'm surely going to listen to this again, so I'll have a chance.
It's a worthwhile thing to put your mind into, I think. And really, man, you don't have to asking somebody to like find faith in something is, that's just an exercise in futility. There's no fucking way. But you can do something as simple as meditation. And dude, that's like, that'll orient you in like a really, really strong way. But you have to do it, and you have to like get disciplined with it. And you have to, and like I said, that doesn't have to be any kind of spirituality. Just, it's a matter of like focusing your thoughts and your peace and your calm, and doing that consistently. It's really, really centering. And you can do that with the sound technology that I've recommended throughout the podcast. Because you don't have to sit there and like, oh, your mind's wandering, bring it back. Oh, your mind's wandering, bring it back. Because this stuff just like knocks you on your ass. And you don't have to be an expert meditator, because it makes you one in seconds. And that's what I used. And that kind of like was a really, really big, really useful tool for me that I still use.
Thank you very much. I'm going to cogitate on your wise words, sir.
Hey, do so. And I agree, they're very wise.
So today we're going to flip our main content and our questions to fall in love, because we're out of questions to fall in love.
We're fresh out.
We're 100% in love now. So we're going to do something briefly adjacent to the manosphere, and then we're going to reflect on this whole process of falling in love and this whole season and the wonderment that came from it. So I found today's subject, which is Alpine divorces. Have you ever heard of an Alpine divorce?
I have absolutely no idea what we're about to talk about. So this is all a fresh take.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this, because what an Alpine divorce is something where guys take their wives or their girlfriends on a hike or a trip to a remote place in the wilderness and leave them there. And that's how they decide to break up with them.
Okay. Like for death, or like you're on your own now? This is
like
it.
You're on your own.
So it's not necessarily a criminal act. It's just like a shithead act.
It's a super shithead act. Yeah.
I agree. But like they're not leaving him out there to die is what I'm asking.
I mean, I think there is danger of that. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
But it's kind of like, instead of ghosting, it's like a much more fucked up version of ghosting, where you actually take somebody somewhere remote to ghost them, and like they have nothing. They don't have ways to get home or communication systems, or like they're just by themselves in the woods.
There's enough of this now to like call it a thing, Alpine divorce, and like there are enough instances of this happening that it's becoming popular, I guess, among the D-bags in the manosphere, or what's?
Yeah, I don't know if popular is the right word,
Yeah.
but it's a viral TikTok term, but it came from an 1893 short story of the same name written by a guy named Robert Barr. And the story revolves around a husband who plans to end his marriage by pushing his wife off a cliff while they're hiking in the Swiss Alps. And obviously, that's not what we're talking about here, but it's still pretty dangerous. And there's enough women coming out, women and men, but women specifically coming out on TikTok and things like that, talking about their experiences with this. That while hopefully it's not happening a lot, it's definitely happening. And yeah, I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject.
Well, what do I think about pushing my wife off of? Actually, I know you weren't saying pushing, but like when you said Alpine divorce, and you were like, a couple goes into the woods, that was the first thing I thought of. Like, oh, somebody's shoving their wife off of a cliff.
Well, you should be a writer in 1893.
Sure, man. I would have thrived. I don't know. Like, I haven't heard of that, and like, it seems maybe like a small number. I feel like that's not something that is prevalent in our modern society, but like, I mean, I guess anytime a couple goes into the woods and one person emerges, like there's always question like what exactly happened. But no, I mean, I guess I'm not surprised that that's kind of the evolution of these manosphere types. Like, it's like, why would you, if you already don't respect women, why would you have the decency to, leave them in a safe place when you're ending your relationship with them?
Right. Well, I mean, and it's very purposeful. It's very by design to be shitty. Like, it's not just like, I'm breaking up with you. It's like, we're going out on this trip. We're a couple and we're lovely and things like that. And then just abandoning them. And it's prevalent enough that like there's somebody in the article that's a therapist, and they said, I've seen it a few times. And this is one person that's seen it a few times. And for a lot of people, that this is their worst fear, being in an environment where we don't have control over what's going on and being abandoned somewhere. And there are times where this has, like, somebody was guilty of gross negligent manslaughter because they left someone in the woods, or in this case, Australia, and they died,
Yeah.
And it's like, it's dangerous. It shows, this is somebody that ostensibly you cared about at some point, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And to just be so callous with another person's life. Like, it's one thing if you guys have had a bad relationship and you're arguing, like, fine, break up. But this shows a kind of like callous coldness and vindictiveness and just hatred towards like human life. It's hard for me, and I imagine you, to even fathom.
Yeah, well, I've had some pretty shitty relationships, some toxic ones even. And every time they've ended, I've always just like worried about them. Like, I hope they're okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thought of leaving even like a shitty relationship alone in the forest to trick them, you know what I mean? They're trusting you to go out there with them and then just say, by the way, you're on your own. I mean, what a monster you have to be to do that. It goes beyond just like a social deviancy. It's like psychopathy or something. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine a man or a woman doing that to another person. Like, that's, yeah, I can't imagine it. I don't know what kind of thought process can do that.
Yeah, and I think, the thing to tie this back to, especially for the manospheres, guys that are upset that women don't want to date anymore, and it's like, well, that's, every time we cover a story like this, it's more and more fair, and we have to be the voices, we have to be the change that makes this kind of shit not okay. Like, I don't know what's going on with, I'm guessing that the people that are doing like this, their friends are probably shitty too, because I can't imagine. Can you imagine, like, if I came up to you and we're good friends, and I was like, yeah, I broke up with my wife, left her in the woods. like you wouldn't be like, haha, that's funny.
I'm like, solid, Skip, solid.
Yeah. Yeah, like, to feel like that you could do something like this, and that, I mean, there's really almost no other reason to do it except to be like, ha ha, look at what I did to this person. So they've got to be telling their friends about this. I can't imagine that this is just I don't know. It's so performative, right? It's such a performance breakup.
I honestly, I can't imagine the motivations behind that, other than I hope they die, and in which case you probably wouldn't talk to anybody about it. But
I guess
I don't understand the motivations behind it, like whether or not they're going to brag about it or haha, look what I did to this person, assuming that they're not injured. But I don't know. Are they going to brag about it? Are they just cowards? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I will say though, have you ever been the victim of a woman abandoning you on mid-date or anything like that?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either, but I know a person, and I might not say who they are. I'll say she's a woman, and she was on a date when she was quite young, and the date was weird and gross, and she went to the bathroom and just booked it. Not a scary date. It was just oh, this guy's giving her the ick, and she she took off. It was Jody.
Yeah,
she was like a teenager when it happened, but it's still a funny story.
No, see, I feel guilty still, and I was actually just talking about this to my son the other day because he asked a girl out and they couldn't line up their schedules, and that was months ago. And I'm like, dude, you can't just leave her hanging. She was hanging out the other day and they're friends, and I'm just like, you've got to ask her out, or you've got to clarify this or do something, because it's not kind. Because I still feel guilty about when I think just graduated high school, so I was 18, and I was so shy. I never asked anybody out when I was a kid. I had a move, but this wasn't it. I finally, there was a waitress at a place that me and my friends hung out at, and she was, somebody from our school that had graduated. And I thought she was real cute, and I worked up the courage. I made a flower out of a straw, and there's the different colored sugar packets back in the day, Sweet and Low was red, and then there was blue. So I made leaves and a flower, and I gave it to her, and I asked her out sometime, and she said yes. And then I never ever did any, and I still feel crappy about I was just so nervous and timid and afraid to talk to her because I was just shy about that kind of stuff, that I never followed up and made the actual date. And I still feel crappy about it. I still feel not I'm sure that for her it was no, ooh, big loss. But I still feel bad about it because it's just not a nice thing. So I can't even imagine leaving somebody in the woods. This is how bad I feel bad for 30 years about something that was not important at all.
For something that was well intended.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I haven't heard of this trend. I hope it isn't going to become one. And Alpine divorce. That's a thing, apparently.
Well, hopefully some of these cases where they're it's really unfortunate that somebody died, but being guilty of manslaughter, hopefully that's a deterrent for some of these dum-dums. And also, if you're dating anyone that you think might even possibly do this, don't date them.
Yeah. If you're not sure whether they would do it or not, it's time to hit the road.
It's a preview of our red flags.
There you go, man. Yeah, and if not, we'll add it to the list. Well, Skip, it's been quite a while since we launched this little project of ours. We have finished our 36 questions fall in love, which was our main objective.
Only took us a year.
We are objectively and measurably in love over this year. What are your thoughts on this journey that we've had together?
Well, I have one thing to say.
What is that one thing?
I love you.
Oh, my heart is aflutter. I love you, Skip.
I've honestly been thinking about this. When we started these questions, when we got to a couple questions in, I was I was already feeling this urge. And even today, I was thinking about telling you, and I always tagged man on the end. I love you, man.
Yeah, it has to be bro. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really had to consciously take that off the end to be no, I don't need to add the man on the end.
We don't need to qualify this as a buddy bromance. Let me ask you though, have you ever said I love you to a man outside of your family, not your dad or uncle or whatever?
Yeah, but not many.
Yeah,
But
same.
it's definitely something that it's definitely a thing. Like, and it's definitely something where we've come to a point in a relationship with somebody where I'm like, I need to tell this person that I love them.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it's still even in those cases, not always is it unawkward. That was like that sentence itself. Sometimes your buddy is somebody that's like, wow, like I love you too. But other times it's kind of weird. And it's just like, yeah, no, I need to tell you, like, I got your back. I got your back for life.
Yeah. That's a really good way of putting it, though. That's essentially what that means. I think from like man to man, outside of a family, heterosexual, it means I got you. Like I
Yeah.
got you for life. That's a great way of putting it. I can think of two people. One of them was like kind of like an uncle figure in my life. He passed away. I'd mentioned him before. Another one was like my best friend, who's he's not a best friend now because we haven't really spoken in a while. But he's got some addiction issues. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, both guys that I said that to, we were in. It was not awkward at all. It was during an embrace, like a strong, loving embrace, and I meant it, and I felt like they meant it right back to me. Yeah, man, I wouldn't call either of them awkward at all, and felt really good. The couple times in my life that's happened, it felt really really good.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I think you said something that I was also thinking about, which is like I've said this to people that I don't talk too much anymore. And like I still, even if I don't talk to you much, even if like we've kind of fallen out of contact, I still feel like I would be there for somebody if they needed me.
Right.
And like maybe it's a failing that I'm not currently there for these people. But at the same time, life happens and you drift apart. And earlier when we were talking about Alpine divorces, and you said like even when you've had a bad relationship, you've hoped that people were okay after you
Right.
broke up. I've always, for the most part, not everybody, but most of my exes, I'm still friends with or friendly with,
Mhm.
and like I have always said, like, you know what? If I say I love you, I love you forever.
Right.
And there's maybe one case where where that wasn't true, but for the most part, like I genuinely, like things didn't work out. We're not the ones for each other. That's fine. But like I hope you're doing well. And if something happened, God forbid, for some strange reason, I was the only person in the world that could help you, not like the only person in the world, like not to avoid coming to me for help. But but like if you didn't have anybody that was still closer to you, like I'd want to help out. Like
Right.
that's kind of what it means to me. I definitely feel like if I'm saying I love you, it means something. Like it's not something that just goes away.
Well, and to validate that too, like even before our professions of love, is that even a way of describing that? Can you
Yeah, yeah.
pluralize to profess? Professes of love.
Professors.
Professors of love. I felt that from you before we even started this podcast. I know, and I'm sure I've said it to Jody at some point. Like, we have Skip and Jess. Like, even though we don't talk, we really didn't talk very much at all since we had left the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And I'm a serial at doing that. Like, I just kind of, oh, you're not in front of my face. We're not talking now.
Yeah.
I always felt like you guys were there if we needed to reach out for whatever reason. You know what I mean? I knew.
Yeah.
And this is well before we got as close as we are now, I think. And yeah, you radiate that about you, and it just does too. And you guys are like a pair. So like I always thought we could depend on you for something if we needed it. You know what I mean? And I'm not asking for the same from you, but I hope that we would exude the same sort of
Dependability.
dependability. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you guys have always been. I mean, certainly when you were here, we definitely depended on you.
Yeah.
I've talked about before when Jess was having our youngest son, like we left our older boy with you. Like, you guys were our family. Like we didn't have family here. You guys were our family. And so, yeah, I think, yeah, we've always kind of gotten that. And obviously it takes two to not tango. So I wasn't exactly writing you. I'm also serially guilty of like, I'm trying to like contact people more, and I'll realize like it's been like a month or 2 months since I wrote this person that I meant to start writing regularly.
Right.
So, and it's obviously, it's a two-way street and everything, but I'm trying to get better about it. I'm trying
Well,
to
and
get better.
I think maybe part of the reason why you and I don't take that personally is because I think we're very, very similar in that way.
Yeah.
And like with my family, like I don't have to talk to them every single day. I know they're there. I know they're going to be there for me if I need them. And I know that they're not going to be like, well, he didn't call me, so I'm not going to invite him to this thing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's what a good relationship is when you're there for somebody through thick and thin. It's not an issue. So anyway, but I think you and I we share that in common. So I think maybe there was just an unspoken understanding of that too.
Let me ask you this. How has this process of going through these questions and doing this podcast in general, has it affected you? Has it made changes in your life or anything? Or
Well,
just what was the experience like, I guess?
It's made me value you a lot more than I did before. I mean, I'm not pandering, but yeah, no, I'm really appreciative of you, and like when I'm not being performative when I say these things on the show. Like I appreciate you. I appreciate that you guys are there, that you guys are around, and both you and Jess. I love that I know your boys.
Well, Jess isn't around. I left her in the woods.
You left her in the Alpine. So yeah, and I guess also just like for me, when we first started this, I was like super shy and embarrassed. I'm still a little shy about where here's our podcast, listen to it. But it's much less of an ordeal now. So yeah, I'm enjoying the production of it all. I'm enjoying the learning curve and getting to know you much more than we did face to face. One thing I have noticed is before I always thought, oh, Skip and I are like brothers from another mother. You know what I mean? But like now I see the differences in us. Yeah. And not in a bad way at all. Right. But I see our similarities, but I also see how very, very different we are. So that was kind of a cool, like unexpected thing. I just, I know it sounds negative. It's not negative at all. I don't know, man. It's not a terrible answer, but what about you? What are your reflections on this long journey?
Yeah. It's definitely something that has lightened my life a little, a bit, like I look forward to this. I look forward to talking to my buddy Carlos, but beyond that, like kind of delving into like these questions and being vulnerable with another person, and also talking about like the manosphere, and like seeing kind of the things involved in being so toxic and unhealthy. Like I feel like it's made me a better person. I feel like I'm a better person with my family. I'm trying to be a better person with my friends, as I said, and even people I've fell out of contact with. Like a better citizen, a better community member. Like I want to do good, and I feel like I'm a better person for like diving into these things and like, giving air to the wound, right?
Yes.
And,
yes. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of this is. We're so like not sheltered. We're so shielded in many cases because we're afraid of being hurt generally, and we're afraid of being vulnerable, especially men. And that's what these questions and have been designed to do, is to like open you up to somebody in a way that it's not like manufacturing, I guess in a negative sense, but it manufactures intimacy, and it's something that we need. Like, and this is going to come up, I think, later, but like the theme of this has all been connection. Like the theme of this whole podcast and this whole season and all this, and what we see lacking in the manosphere, and what drives men crazy, like literally crazy in the manosphere, is this lack of connection. So I think it's great. I don't know. I don't have a lot deeper thing to end on other than I think it's great.
Well, I'll add to it, and it's more of like an outward observation more than an inward. But something I hadn't really expected. I knew going into it that our innermost thoughts of two men, of a certain age, was going to be of interest to some type of woman as well. But what I hadn't really thought of was like how much it was, you know what I mean? And how being open and vulnerable and just describing our thought processes, like how that helps some women understand their partner better, and how curious it is for them. You know what I mean? I hadn't expected a female audience, to be honest. And I think that's who's most interested in this sort of thing, and then to see some certain people inspired by it and to like kind of branch off on their own little projects has been really positive for me. And I've seen your uplifting as well. And you just seem more positive than you were ever, I think, from before. And not that you were a negative guy before, but like seeing you, I can see it as it happens too. Like you're saying something and you're like, this is negative, and you kind of switch it over. And I do think that that's any kind of negativity at any time is just not worth the energy. And I've seen you catching it, and I don't know. It's cool to see. I'm glad that this has been like a mechanism for that for you.
You just wait for my joys, buddy.
And that's something too, man. We kind of like we're all over the place in the beginning with like I know this isn't related to 36 questions, but as far as formatting goes, and we just kind of slid right into joys, and I feel like that's fits perfectly. And I'm so happy that we're doing that because, like you said at some time ago, like it forces you to think about what's making you happy during the week, and I think that's a great exercise as well.
Well, that is all you. I'll give credit where credit's due. You know, I remember from the very beginning, you said, I want to do something that brings me joy. And before we'd even decided what we were going to talk about or what this was going to be, we are just like, let's find a reason to talk every week. And you said, I want to do something that brings me joy. And geez, it's been it's our true north.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, that's another good way of putting it. We've done it. Mission accomplished. Mic drop.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's been a great year, overlapping year. And I'm really looking forward to our next season. And it's going to be a different vibe, I think, altogether, because it's going to be a little more inward, I think, for me anyway. And I'm really curious how that's going to play out. I see only positive things for that as well.
Yeah, lots of air on the wounds, I think.
Lots of air.
So, Carlos, it's time for my favorite part of the show. What's your joy for the week?
My final joy for season 1 of Outside the Manosphere, a non-toxic bromance. It's kind of a silly one, but so again, listening to our last episode while I was editing, we were talking about procrastination. That was my issue, and you were talking about buying Christmas gifts and things like that. And really, when you said, "Oh, I buy it in November," I'm like, "Well, that's kind of late too," because like maybe Christmas gifts is the one thing that I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna get way ahead of that," but I haven't. I've been procrastinating it as well. So anyway, my little joy here is I impulsively bought Jody, but it's for us. But like it's a household Christmas gift, and I'm not going to say what it is because in the event that she listens to this show or this episode, I bought it yesterday, and we are in March, so we got quite the wait. But anyway, that's one less thing that I got to think about, and not one less thing because I'm going to get more. But like, man, if I do that every month, it's going to be an aristocratic Christmas
Cavalcade.
A cavalcade of gifts. I like it. Yeah. So that's my joy. Like I was happy that because I overthink stuff, man. I was like, well, it's the X amount of dollars, and like I'll wait and I'll wait and I'll wait, and I spend too much time waiting and thinking about this stupid thing that I just pull the trigger on. So I did, and I'm happy it hasn't arrived yet, but when it does, I'll put it away and I won't think of it again until December. And that was because of you. You inspired me to not procrastinate this one little thing, and it's a baby step.
Woo woo.
What about you? What's the joy for this week?
I'm full of joy this week. My younger son turned 9. My older son got 8th in the Czech Republic for high jump this weekend. So that was a big thing, and we got to see him on the live stream of the national TV jumping.
Oh, that's cool.
But the real joy, and I debated having this as my news item even, so it's going to tie some of these things together. But I listened to an interview with Rebecca Solnit on New York Times, and she's a writer, feminist orientation, and really smart lady. My wife loves her, and so I often will not listen to some of the interviews, especially if it's with like an actor or something. But I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this. And there were a couple things she said that just really caught me. And, like a few things. So one of them was that changing the world, and I actually wrote it down wrong. I wrote it down as saving the world, but changing the world is more like caregiving than war.
Okay.
And I thought, I thought it was really interesting. Like it was really nice. And obviously, changing the world sometimes is war, but ideally not. And she was talking about anger at a lot of nice women doing things and things like that. But just like the idea, and even when I wrote it, I said saving the world, which is a very man kind of view to it, right?
Yeah.
And so like changing the world and doing these slow things, not, I have made no secret about, I would have no problem with another French Revolution. But like, I'd also be very happy if that change came in a much more caring, structured way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think oftentimes that impulse is like, I don't see how it's going to happen. Let's just kill everybody. It's a man kind of thing. So like this changing the world is as caregiving. That's something that's really nice. And the other thing that she said that's tied to this is she was quoting a Vietnamese Zen master whose name I'm a little nervous about saying, but it's Thich Nhat Hanh. She said the community is the next hero. And she said she was inspired by this guy saying the next Buddha will be a Sangha. And Sangha means community.
Okay.
And so like, I really like that feeling. And it ties in with things that we've been talking about, where it's not like one person. And in fact, everybody that's putting their faith in one person, whether it be Donald Trump or a Captain America or some manosphere person, and they're saying, oh, this person's going to fix everything. That's the cause of all the problems.
Yeah, I agree.
And it really is like, it's not, to bring it back to like John F. Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you, ask for what you can do for your country. It's that community that is the thing that's going to change the world, that's going to caregive, that's going to do all these things. And so I was listening to this and I was thinking about it, and I came to the conclusion, it's not the first time I've thought about them, but joy is other people, and misery can be other people too, but joy is other people. And like my son was at this track meet, and it was all the way on the other side of the country, and we didn't get to go because we were also doing my younger son's birthday. But he was doing math on the train, and like he wasn't getting them all right, but he was sending them to me, and I was like, okay, you've done enough, you can relax. And he kept working on it, and he kept working till he got the questions right. And like, there's a big part of me that is like, that's all you can hope for as a parent. Like, I don't need him to be perfect. I don't need him to like get every question right. The fact that nothing was forcing him to do it, and he wanted to continue to work and to be his best. Like, as a parent, that's the dream. I don't need my child to be perfect, but I want them to be doing their best. That's what I want for everybody, like for us all to just do our best. And like the joy I felt, not in him getting these things right, but in working on these things when he didn't have to, that's like just a tremendous amount of joy that I get. And it's from my community. It's the joy of other people. And this podcast has been the joy of other people and building this community. And so I just wanted to share that joy that for the end of the season, because that's like what I've walked away with.
That's so much better than anything I can come up with, man. that's what, you know what? That's why we're doing it though, dude. Like I mean, yes, it's to get to know each other, but like if we're recording this and blasting it out, it's for a reason, and it's to make things better, I think. At least that's my motivation, you know what I mean? I want to do well. And exactly what you were saying, man. I've gone from like, as a younger man, wanting to like change the world to scaling it down and being like, you know what, I'm going to change myself. And just as we talked about last time, you change yourself, and then you think within a smaller circle and do what you can locally. And that actually changes stuff. Unless you're like a Martin Luther King or something like that, which, that'd be fantastic if you can do that. But like, that's a rarity. And like, for me, like the best I can do, I'm going to focus on my relationships with people. And this person's not doing great, and I'm doing pretty great. I'm going to just stand closer to them. You know what I mean? And see how I can help them out. And I feel like if we all just thought that way, we would have that community that you're describing, and we would have the Buddha reborn as community.
So what's your joy?
My joy was my stupid gift.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Erase that.
It wasn't good, Skip. It wasn't a good joy.
No, it was good. It was a good joy. It was a good joy.
I'm like, I bought myself a present. Well, Skip, last thing before we end our final episode of season 1 is we have had our as I've described in my head, our first lovers spat in our inability to decide on next album art for our podcast. We've got a few in mind, as well as the original one, and we're going to create a Facebook poll, share it to our page, probably share it to our personal pages as well, and get anyone who's willing to participate, get their opinion and see what we kind of settle on one, but I'm really curious what maybe everyone else thinks, and we'd love your opinion. Please vote. It's going to be about maybe 7 different options.
All right. Season 1. I agree with everything he just said. Season 1 out.
Season 1 out. Look to Facebook, whether it's our own personal pages if we're friends, or our Manosphere, or Outside the Manosphere Facebook page. Love your input, love your feedback, and go.
Thank you so much for joining us. New podcasts every Wednesday. And if any part of this show has resonated with you, let us know at outsidethemanosphere@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Instagram, Facebook, and now YouTube. Please like, rate, subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel, or recommend us to a friend. We hope you'll come back. Have a good one.
Bye-bye now.
Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Hold on. You're ready. I'm not ready.
Welcome to Outside the Manosphere.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to Outside the Manosphere. I'm Skip.
And I'm Carlos.